G'day guys, today I'm joined with BJ from TBL Property Maintenance. We are inside today shooting a quick video because it's like freezing outside in Brisbane. And for us Brisbane guys, when it gets below 20 degrees, it's freezing. Correct?
It's over, yeah.
So it's like 14 degrees in the middle of the day today. So we're locked in the shed and we're going to bring a video to you about some different trimmer line, trimmer cord combos. Obviously, depending on which actual whippersnipper you're using, these cords will have different applications, but we're just going to have a chat about what we use and what we have found. Also along with so we've got a genuine speed feed Shindeba head here. So these are very popular. And we also have one of BJ's favourites, the GA Spares alloy. It's just an alloy head, is that right?
Yeah, it's just an alloy head. I've always known it as a commercial head, so.
Yep. I believe Tanaka came out with these first.
Yeah.
And it's what I used for years and years. So we'll come back to the heads, but we're going to talk a little bit about the trimmer line. And we want you guys to come back with us as well and tell us which trimmer line you're going with, why, and what applications you prefer to use it in. So, what do you want to start with, BJ? Well, let's start with, okay, so what we have here, guys, this green spool is, I'm hoping it's 2.7. We should have this, yeah. So, 2.7 round Trailblazer line. So, very common, even, you know, there is the Trailblazer. There's many brands of this stuff, so you can get Stihl, you know, GA probably has, I don't know if they are a Trailblazer dealer or not. So what we found is that the round trimmer line is probably the best for what, all-round use?
All-round, yeah. Edges, nice clean edges. It hits pretty hard, so you can get through a bit of stuff.
You can slash with it too, really.
Yeah.
So it's not the most efficient for slashing, we've found, but it does work pretty nice when you're doing a nice upright edge. For sure. Yeah. So what I have been using, I tried it. I'm in two minds. So we've got the Stihl. Is it 2.7?
Yeah, 2.7.
So I got the Stihl 2.7 square. Is it square?
Yeah, it's square.
So this is a square line, guys. Now,
oh wait, no, it's not. It's like a tri line,
it's like an X or something.
Yeah, like a star line.
Look, I found it to be okay. I haven't found any massive positives to using this over any one of these other lines. So obviously the thickness, like 2.7 is probably the thinnest diameter of it.
Yeah, that's same. Any smaller. And
the biggest reason why I would use 2.7 is because I personally use these speed feed heads. So when you go beyond 2.7, you're really minimizing the amount that you can actually feed through here.
So my preference is the Diamond Edge 3.3. I've used it for maybe 2 years now, and I'm completely different to Ben. He put me onto the alloy heads, and then he went back to the speed feed heads, and I've stuck with the alloy heads. So,
and let me just say why I went back to them. So I always use the alloy heads. So I always use these. I just found them to be durable, easy. You know, they would get you nice and low to the ground if you needed to flatten out areas for the ride-on mowers and so forth. The reason I had to stop using them is because I had some young workers and they just kept running them along the concrete, and eventually these things will explode. You're supposed to change them beforehand, but do you get yours changed beforehand?
I literally, like, every day I look at that little marker on the bottom. There's a marker that says,
Yeah.
if you can't read this, then change your head.
So there's a warning here saying if you can't read this text, you got to change it over. Now, what was happening in my case is the boys were just going through it like anything, and they were exploding them, and it's dangerous. And so I made them use these, which was a little bit of an adjustment, and they were just on me like anything. So I thought, all right, I'm the boss. I'm going to go back to this, and that way no one can come at me for anything. And it's just been something that we stuck with. And so, but each to their own. Each option is pretty good. I've run both of them. Back to the trimmer line. So this is 3.3 diamond edge. And as you can see, well, you probably can't really see, but this is some wicked line.
Yeah.
You're not going to be running this stuff unless you're using a commercial machine, because your machine will labour,
Yeah,
correct?
for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm currently using this on a 262, a Shindaiwa or Echo, whatever. They're both pretty much the same machine. It suits everything I do. I use it with the alloy head, and I find that this line literally like lasts all week for one spool. I do a ton of snipping, and this stuff just goes and goes. It doesn't melt under high heat. Like eventually it will, but you know, it just goes forever. So I really like chucking it on and just going hard.
And so with this, the way that these work, and any commercial contractor would know, you have grooves in here. You slide them all through, you wind it up, and then you chuck them in the grooves. Do you have to open up those grooves?
No, the new
Okay.
you used to on the old heads, but I think GA have changed the width on it, and I haven't had an issue with getting the 3.3 through anymore. Maybe with the round line there might be a difference, but because it's square line, it just slips straight through. And yeah, I'm super happy they changed that. That's for
Okay, because I know that when I used to use 3.3, the black cord, we used to call it BBC. You guys can figure that one out. We had to grind open these little tabs a little bit just to accommodate the width of the 3.3 line, and we liked it.
Yeah.
But now that we're doing more maintenance style stuff, we just don't need to run as heavy duty as that. So we're going to tell you now, so what is this like when you're running an upright schmick up edge, like a straight edge?
So this stuff, you have to have control of your machine. You really have to hold on to your machine. When you're doing an upright edge, like I can do really schmick edges, and probably post a photo of some of the edges I do, but this stuff will wander. So, I mean, you'll be tracking, and then if you're not concentrating, it will sort of move on you. So you really have to keep control of your machine and know, you know.
So if
where
you
wanna go.
if you were going gun ho doing an edge, and you happen to, for some reason, a fly lands on your face or whatever, and your trimmer line moves, you're gonna see it.
You're gonna see it.
Okay, cool. So I've used this in my, I'm running the Shindaiwa 260, which is the older version. I'm actually running it in the speed head. You're not probably going to get any more than about that in here, but what I have noticed is this stuff just doesn't wear down.
No.
It doesn't chip away. So you'll notice with some of these other cords, you'll be forever bumping this head to get the right amount of length. However, this is mega durable. So that spool, how long have you had that spool?
This spool, geez, I don't even know. It'd be like it's almost a year old, I'd say. And I got me and another guy 5 days a week on 2 massive commercial sites. We smash out a lot of work, a lot of snipping, and this is all I use. I fill a head, and we'll probably not fill it for another fortnight.
Okay, and before we move away from it, so what is this like in a slashing, flattening application?
It's mean. It's probably one of the best. I don't really like the blades, and I've tried like the weed whacker style things. This stuff is like the best of both worlds. It's it cuts through most things. You can get through nice big woody weeds with it as well, and it's just a really, really good line for slashing. especially those thicker things like the thicker grasses, and it just leaves a nice cut. Even on the finer stuff, I find that I do a lot of flattening because we do a lot of ride-on work, and it flattens really nice, and that's why I like the alloy head as well, because I do get that height like Ben was saying earlier, and it just suits us really well.
So in a way you can sort of even mow with this stuff?
Pretty much, yeah. There's patches that we don't even touch with the mower, maybe like 3 times this table's width, and we just snip it and it comes up perfect.
Where did you buy that from? Is it available at most mower stores?
Most mower stores do stock the Diamond Edge.
I know our man Danny from Southside Mower Centre, so any Brisbane guys will know.
Yeah.
Drop in there to Danny. He's selling this stuff and he has most brands and options.
Yeah.
But regardless of where you are, you should be able to find a dealer that's running this stuff. Yeah. Okay, so we'll give them a quick look at the front of that one so that they can...
very similar sticker to the Trailblazer, and I'm pretty sure wherever you find the Trailblazer, you'll find the Diamond Edge as well.
Yeah, so guys, you don't have to buy a massive spool like that if you want to try it out. They come in all different... I mean, I bought a 5 metre length to trial when BJ told me, hey, have a crack at this. So, you can try a smaller spool and see how you like it. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Vortex. Thank you, sir. So this Vortex is like a plaited, twisted line. This is only 2.7. I did find that the 2.7, if you actually match these up, this is the 2.7 Trailblazer, this is the Vortex. I have found that this particular diameter was too thin for me. I would personally look at a 3 or potentially even a 3.3. I found the Vortex really, really effective in most applications. So what we want to go back to is that your square lines and your diamond lines, when you're doing an upright edge, they'll wander a little bit. They won't just stick in that track. Your circle line is excellent for sticking in and really getting your schmicko edges. It's just not as good for slashing. What I found with the Vortex is it doesn't wander and it's pretty effective. Like this is thin line, 2.7. It was pretty effective. I'm yet to try the 3 mil stuff, but I will have a look at it. But I found, and once again, I didn't buy a huge spool. I just bought that so I can test it out. So we're currently testing all of these things out. But I think Vortex could be a goer for guys that are doing edging and slashing as well in a typical day. So check out the Vortex. You'll usually see it. This was recommended to me from one of the guys over at the GA Spares, and GA guys, that's this mob here, they are responsible for most of the spare parts that you'll get. So all your blades, bearings, they do spark plugs, obviously they do the trimmer cord, pretty much all your spare parts and accessories. And if you walk into a dealer, you will usually see a wall or a stand and it'll just have GA everywhere. So they got me onto the Vortex line. I'm very happy with it. We'll go back to the square line. Have you used this?
Not in that shape. I've used smaller stuff of this diamond line or square line or whatever, but it seems to have a different shape. So this is more like a cross, and this is more like a diamond with a little bit of a scoop out.
So this is Stihl line, and I personally use, even though I don't really run Stihl equipment, I'm mostly a shinny guy. I do use the Stihl oil. Are you still using Stihl oil?
No, I'm not using Stihl oil anymore.
What are you using?
I'm using the Stren oil.
Stens?
Stens, sorry. Yeah.
Stens. Okay, cool. So my local Stihl dealer, he's like literally down the road, and that's where I usually get most of my oils from. I just find them hassle-free and easy to use. So I usually just pick up my spools from there. I'm just going to say that I haven't been that happy with this square line. So it just hasn't been, like it's okay, I can use it, I can get my work done. but it hasn't been as much of a, like, you know, you can still run a nice edge, and I don't find it very good for slashing at all. So I've heard, well, you know, when we are whippersnipping weeds in bricks,
Yeah.
like paved areas. So how have you found, because I've heard that the square lines and stuff are not as good for that. They're better for slashing your grass.
Yeah, see, most of our work, we don't really get a lot of brickwork weeds. We get a lot around the edges.
Yeah.
So the square stuff actually works really well because it sort of molds to the edge. But again, like,
I think realistically,
it doesn't wear down. So
look, I think realistically with this stuff, I just don't think you can go wrong. What you do have to do is have a look at what machine you're running.
oh, for sure.
Now, most of the Stihl machines, I'm sort of not really up with the models, but there's a lot of guys running Stihl. But I'd say most of the commercial Stihl machines that people are running, they do have more grunt, do they? Yeah. So you'll be right to crank a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So that pretty much leaves us with the last thing that we'll probably touch on, the Trailblazer.
Yep.
So we found this to be, I mean, you would have just started off
That's
your
where
business.
I started.
Yep. Me too. This is, if I can't find anything that, you know, if I feel like trying something different, I can't find anything, I'll just end up getting something like this. I found it to be a pretty good all-round cord. It's, you know, I think if you're doing, saying, you know, blocks of, like vacant blocks of land that have more growth, or if you're doing lots and lots of rental properties, or, you know, like just not your high-end work, it's stuff that really needs doing. I think you're overworking yourself a little bit by using something like this.
You'll chew through it so quickly.
Yeah, but if you're doing most of the stuff that we would do, where we're doing full-on maintenance, this stuff goes pretty good.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, it's perfect.
Yep.
It is, like you said, it's a good all-rounder. It's it leaves a good cut. It lasts for as long as you need it to last. It's it doesn't wear down as quick as, say, this is like a Vortex. What's that? That'd be
Man,
like
I don't
a
even
that'd be
know.
like a 2.3 or something like that.
I mean, some of these manufacturers really should be disgusted in themselves. Like, this is a genuine Shindaiwa head, and we love the Shindaiwa and Echo product.
Yeah.
But come on, what the hell is this?
No, that's it's pretty terrible.
We should see.
And that's why I gave it to you.
We should put this on and see if it hurts to whippersnip you.
Yeah.
That'll be a good video.
Yeah, that would be.
Let us know if you want to see me whippersnipping BJ with any of these cords.
Definitely not this. This, if you get yourself with this,
Yeah, you're gonna have
have, it's a bad day.
Yeah.
It's not a good day.
Okay, cool. So, unfortunately, we don't have prices for you because I never really look at the prices.
No.
It's just something that we need to use in our business. And I've never really, obviously I know when you buy something like this, it's probably like 80 or $100. Like that's I bought this with the intention of having it for a whole year. I do have it on my rig, I do use it, but I do find myself reaching towards the Vortex quite a bit. And obviously BJ's, the big orange stuff. Anyway, we want to know what you guys are using. We want to know what applications you're using them in, and probably the machines too. It'd be good to,
A lot of these will depend on what machine you're running. Like if you're running a 260 or something, like an old 260 or even the 243 Shindaiwa or some of the smaller Stihls, this stuff probably, you don't really want to throw this stuff through it. I've got a 262 Shindaiwa, and this stuff just suits it perfectly. And I haven't found that it like bogs down or anything. For me personally, this is my line of choice, and I don't really, like I've said, I've already had this for like a year, so I don't really have much choice but to finish it. I don't really go and chase other lines. I know Benny likes to experiment, but when I find something I like, I really stick with it, so that's why I'm still running the alloy heads.
Alright, cool. Well, let us know, guys, and shoot it a thumbs up if you like it. And don't forget to comment. Thank you.